Here's a quick tutorial on how to achieve this trending hair bow. Kindly take note that you can use this bow for your kiddies ball gown instead of your regular bow tie. The first pieces I have here is in a square shape, and all the corners of this square piece is 16 inches wide, all around 16 inches. So the next thing to do, you are going to place this piece on a bias fold, just the same way you place your hair tie on fold when you want to tie it, and you go ahead to sew up the open corners of this fold like this, and this will be all for this part. Then I have another cutout here with me, and I have two pieces of this. The width of this cutout is 2.5 inches while the length is 7 inches. You just have to sew the corners of these two pieces together, and I will keep this aside. Now the next piece I have here is in a rectangular shape, having one part longer than the other. Now, the longer part of this cutout is 23 inches, while the shorter part of this cutout is 11.5 inches. So I'll place this on fold like this, and we'll go ahead to sew up the open angles of this piece. Then I have another smaller rectangles. I have two pieces of the smaller rectangles, and the width of this smaller rectangle is 17 inches, while the shorter part of the rectangle is 7 inches. I'll place this on fold and sew up the open part of this fold, doing that for the both pieces. I'm done sewing all the open corners of the pieces like I mentioned. You pick up one part of this folded piece, clip it, and you are cutting through just one part of this piece. Then from that open part, you use it to flip it up to the right side, and you push out the corner so that it can be sharp. I'll go ahead to repeat the same process for another turned up piece. Please, you are picking just one part of the fold, clip it, then you cut through that open point. Use it to turn it out to the right side. So using this method, I'm going to turn up all the other pieces, including the tiny band, and I will give it a good press, then we will continue. As you iron it on fold to get a center line guide. You take a smaller rectangle and you arrange it at the top and at the down like this. Next, you top stitch it on your center line. Notice I left straight at the up and at the down part. Next, you're going to make a gathered stitch on the center point, bringing the top and the end of the tie together, of the bow tie together like this. You pick one end of the thread and you go ahead to flip it around the center point, using it to tie it up with the other end of the thread. You tie up this piece together like this. Now this is the regular bow tie that you know. To spice this up, you are going to take the triangular piece and you are going to make a back and forth stitch with your hand needle on the center point like this. So after making your back and forth stitch on the center point, I'm advising you use a hand needle so that you can easily make a gather out of it. You pull the thread from the other end of it like this, and you make sure that it comes very close together, so you can make sure that it have a tiny point, as tiny as possible at the center. Then you pick one end of the thread and you go ahead to flip it around the center and you tie it up. After tying this up, do not cut out your thread. Connect it to the previous bow tie and you tie the both of them together like this. So this is the point we are right now. Next, I'm going to take my tiny elastic black. I'm going to cut a piece of this, flip it on the center, and I'm going to tie this up. Doing this is to ensure that your center thread does not break and leave your bow tie looking messy. So you're going to tie this up as tight and as many times as possible. And you should make sure that you are tying it on the wrong part and not the right side of your bow tie. I'll take the tiny band which I've turned and ironed to the right side, place it on the center and flip it to the wrong side. Because of the width of your bow, you won't be able to sew it very close, but just go ahead to stitch it at any point that you want. Then you go ahead to trim out any excess that is there. Now, for a very neat finish, I would advise you flip this band to ensure that the stitch you use in joining your center band is placed in between your bow tie and it is not left at the top, to give it a very neat finish. Kindly note that you can place your bow tie like this behind a kiddie's ball gown and it will look just great. Now, if you do not have a hair ribbon, I would advise you use a black elastic and you pass it through this band like this. then you go ahead to top stitch it and join the corners together. Instead of a hair ribbon, you can also pass through an hairpin through this band, and you can just pin it up on your hair for fancy. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.